Welcome to Sonia Podcast. So we are talking about men who share the most romantic things a woman has done to make them feel loved. Y'all know the old saying goes that the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Food might certainly be a factor for some, but there are a lot more ways to win a man's heart. Men, what's the most romantic thing a woman in your life has ever done? And the answers that follow was an eye-opener. While movies often focus on the grand romantic gestures, love is likely to be found in the smaller details of life. From taking care of a partner and cooking them a hot meal to traveling an insane distance to see a partner, women have shown that love is in everyday things. So here are some of the top replies came from certain men. One guy said, "She paid for my higher education. He couldn't afford it, and he wanted to get a higher license and better paying job, and his girlfriend paid for him." His name is Remington. Another guy said, "She took me on a trip of a lifetime. On my birthday a few years ago, his girlfriend told him to pack his bags and some warm gear. He thought she was taking him on a surprise camping trip, but instead they hopped on a train to the airport and flew to Norway. They end up going husky sledding, spending the night in a yacht at the Husky Lounge, going snowboarding up to the canyon, staying at an ice hotel, and going on a Northern Light tour. Lucky enough to catch a particularly awesome display." And his name was Danny Santos. Another guy said, "Die Hard fantasy. In the movie Die Hard, a girl runs and throws herself into the arms of a guy she is meeting who is getting off of a plane. She jumps up into his arms. Ever since I saw that, so many years ago, I wanted someone to be so thrilled to greet me that they threw themselves into my arms like that. It took 40 years, but it did eventually happen, and the girl had no idea it was something that he always fantasized about. It became a thing for us when we haven't seen each other in a while. She run and just jump into his arms." His name is Hetero Flexible. What a funny name. This one said, "Holy hillbilly, when me and my fiance were dating, I always joked about visiting a place called Hillbilly Hot Dogs after seeing a post about it on. Well, a year or so after I first started talking about it, my boss called me and told me to head home early. This was about a week after my birthday. I asked him what was up, and he just said that the other guys will finish the day out. I get home he said he get home and his girlfriend told him to pack 3 to 4 days of clothes, but she wouldn't tell him where they were going. They hopped in the car, and sure enough, a few hours later, they were in front of Hillbilly Hot Dogs. He couldn't believe it. He just had the best time eating there in the section at an old converted school bus. After that, they ended up driving down to North Carolina to stay at her cousin's near the beach for a few days and just enjoy each other's company. On the way back, she said we would stop at any stupid roadside attraction I wanted to, since she knew that he loved them. Honestly, it was the most wonderful gift he had ever received." His name is Joe. Another guy said, "Travel 7 hours to see his girlfriend, now wife, spent 7 hours using public transportation to surprise me at home. Imagine this, coming home from a full 8-hour shift starting at 6 a.m., lifting heavy display TVs. He came home, his bedroom door is locked. He dead ass think it's my younger brother pulling a prank on him." This is what the guy is saying. "I just wanted to go sit on my computer and watch some videos or play some games. When the door opens, to my surprise, there is the love of his life standing there telling him to be patient. His eyes tear up from a combination of feeling mostly joy. They haven't seen each other physically in over a month, just Skyped. It totally made his day and weekend, and they've been married for 5 years ever since." His name is Dog Knight 193. Another guy said took care of him for a month. He broke his leg. He was into a 3-month relationship, unrelated to this relationship. His family had just left town that day. He had emergency surgery. She drove to the emergency, picked up his meds during the surgery, picked him up. When he woke up, drove him back to her place and took care of him for a month there. This includes sponge bath, waking up to give him painkillers in the middle of the night so he wouldn't wake up in agony, having food for him during the day when she went to work, and making sure he was happy overall. 4 years later, they are still together. All that shit ain't, if that's all shit ain't romantic, I don't know what is. This is what the guy's saying. They've been looking at engagement rings for the past few months. The timeline is to elope next summer. His name is Reg Ding Dinger. These names. Another guy said, love is in the details. His girlfriend remembers every detail when we first started dating. On a long drive together, one of our songs came on, and she described the first night we listened to it and when she fell in love with him. She didn't even finish the story because it just broke him. He was leaking tears and it wouldn't stop. I rarely get someone who remembers something that I did for them, and this is what the guy is saying, for his girlfriend to tell these back fill his heart. Get a partner who appreciates your efforts. This is Hap, a.k.a. Papa Boy. Another guy said, being there for me, he was running a fever and slept on the couch outside throughout the night. He would wake up to see his girlfriend kneeling on the floor using a wet handkerchief to sponge him down. He said he loved her so much. His name is Must Bust Poe. These names are crazy. Another guy said, help me move. I never felt more love than when I was flipping the hell out of trying to get packed to figure out how I was going to get everything to his apartment. And his very organized girlfriend drove out from an hour away several nights in 1 week to help make it happen. Caught in the Darkness is his name. Another guy said, pet my head until I slept. I was having a rough day and she simply put my head on her lap and petted my head and gently scratched me until I fell asleep. His name is Kindred. Another guy says, stood on a chair, danced with me, pulled me to the dance floor, dragging a chair behind her, standing up on the chair, and we danced. And he's quite tall. His name is Buzz Cameron. Another guy said, made me my own escape room. My birthday was the 9th, and since we can't go out, she made me my own escape room in our house. It made me feel so loved. He almost cried. He looked with the greatest girl in the world. His name is Luke. Another guy said he dated a girl who decorated a matchbox with the message, we're a great match, and filled it with edible matches like pretzel sticks dipped in colored chocolate and the end to look like a match. She clearly put a lot of thought and effort into it, which was really what meant the most to him. His name is Holland Coyote 2K1. Another guy said, I knew I had a thing for her, so she pretended she couldn't find her phone, then asked if someone could call it. I said, sure, what's your number? They got married years later, 15 years, was a mega weapon. Another guy said, danced with her. My son had a girlfriend in high school who has cerebral palsy. She couldn't walk for a short distance, but it was hard. He took her to a school dance. He dragged the chair that she was sitting in onto the dance floor and danced with her. My kid is the best thing he ever did. Mama Dog 5 is his name. Another guy said, my wife cut my hair tonight because I can't go to the barber and she knew it was bugging me. That's Humpty the 21st. Another guy said, we sweet kisses. We only just been dating a few months. I don't know why, but I couldn't shake this feeling that she just wasn't into us. But near the end of one of these dates, we were on her couch just chatting with my arm around her like I used to do. And then she got up to roll herself a cigarette as she was still in the middle of quitting at the time, but she still smoked when stressed. And as she got up off the couch, she leaned back down to me and gave him a kiss. This was the first kiss that didn't feel like a mandatory goodbye kiss, as that was the only kind of kissing we had done before this, and for some reason it kind of just melted away those doubts I had. A little while later, I asked her about it, and she told me, I know you're disgusted by my smoking, so I wanted to kiss you before I smoke. The fact that this felt like our first genuine kiss together, that she thought of me and my feelings in that way, just kind of reassured me of the relationship. And we're still together today, a year later. His name is Moonlight 150. Another guy said it'll be okay after a particularly bad day, laid my head on her chest, pet me, and told me everything would be alright. His name is Tokonoskoal. It's a hard name to pronounce, y'all. So these are a lot of guys who said what they find romantic about the women they are actually with. It's a lot of confessions of guys finding what they find romantic. I don't know if I'll make a part 2 because it goes on and on and on and on. But I'd like to thank y'all for listening to my car podcast. Please give it a 5-star review on Speaker, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast at. Please share. Please leave a comment under this podcast or go to sv766752@gmail.com. You can follow me at son.ia9795 Instagram, Sonia Santiago Twitter, Sonia Santiago Facebook, Sonia Santiago Pinterest. You can go to my website, http://podcasters.com/wordpress.com, www.avilo, use promo code Sonia, www.instacart156. My son has a clothing line called Conquest Empire 2020. Please check it out on Instagram. Thank you and have a blessed night.